Yeah, in the spirit of the efficiency of time, we'll go ahead and get started. I want to first thank everyone for taking some time to attend this webinar on an important topic. I did want to let everyone know that we are going to record this webinar so people can refer back to it or share with other members of their team. So just so everyone's aware. Myself, my name's Travis Pearson. I'm actually the founder and the CEO of CMR Risk and Insurance Services and head up our surety practice group. Our name CMR, actually C to stand for construction. So we have a lot of experience working with contractors in regards to their general insurance and also their surety placement. And I'll let Peter introduce himself shortly, but I did just want to touch in on, I've known Peter for, the 25 years back when he actually was running a construction firm. And we recently reconnected at an ASA event, and I thought, he kind of gave me kind of a preview of what he was talking about, and this alleviates kind of a lot of issues or kind of opportunities that we see with regards to surety bonding. We have kind of more and more surety companies kind of wanting an understanding or in a very timely fashion on what status of bids are, and also really analyzing on kind of light projects and history of projects. Obviously, something like this isn't going to replace traditional surety underwriting, credit worthiness, and financial review or what have you, but having some type of system to really kind of analyze here where we're at, what types of projects we've been doing really can help push the limit in regards to getting kind of say some larger projects approved or kind of an overall aggregate line. So again, we appreciate everyone's time today to review this platform, and I think you'll enjoy Peter's insight from the contractor side and why like Command Post. So I'll let you kind of take it away from here, Peter.
Travis, thank you very much. Thank you for having us be able to present to your insureds and prospects and so forth. Thank you to everyone for taking time out to attend this, and we will try to make it informative and maybe a bit of fun and help you see what we have now. My background is construction. I'm a contractor gone techie, so to speak. I had a construction company in Philadelphia for 10 years, and I was a union contractor. And then I sold that business, moved to San Diego, started another construction company, and ran that 18 years. And I wound up selling that because when it got into the software business, I wanted to create software for contractors who seemed to desperately need it, and I was one of those people. So let me just go into a little bit about the origin of this. Back when I was a contractor, I really found it difficult to manage my business with financial statements. They never really seemed to align with my expectations. I knew I was making money on my projects, but somehow I got a financial statement and it didn't align with that. And in one particular month, it showed a loss, and I was literally shocked. I couldn't figure out how that was possible. So I decided to dig in and figure out what's going on with this. What's happening with these projects, and why is it so volatile with my financial statements? So like we were using spreadsheets for everything that accounting systems didn't do in the day. I used spreadsheets. I spent quite a bit of time building a spreadsheet that would do forecasting for my business, that would let me know what I'm going to be earning this month in terms of net profit, what I'm going to be earning next month, and so on. And I built that in a spreadsheet. I compared it to my financial statements over a period of time and found that it was very accurate, about 95% accurate, not exact, but it was very close with no effort. It was a continuously updated forecasts based on jobs that were won or lost and so forth. One of the challenges with the spreadsheet, it was complicated and it was really vulnerable to anyone else touching it or looking at it. They could change a formula and then it wouldn't work. And there would be problems there. And one of the other things I found that the spreadsheets that we used to manage the business were fragmented. Parts of information were over here and parts were over there, and there really wasn't a comprehensive way to do this, and I wound up having to re-enter data a lot. This may sound familiar to some of you who use spreadsheets to fill in the gaps. And my accounting system was great, but it wasn't enough. I found that using, my accounting, my financial statements was like driving my car looking out the rearview mirror. It was not helpful for me. So I set out to build a tool to help me do this and to give me the windshield to look out. At that time, I met with my partner, Dick Roman. We decided to start a company, and then Dick wrote the original desktop software version 1, which was released initially in 1997, actually, as a desktop software. Now, if we fast forward 27 years, what we had built at the time, unbeknownst to us, would become a new category of software called RevOps. It stands for Revenue Operations. And essentially, it's one place to keep project information. It includes the business development team, the estimating team, and the operations teams. It automates management reports going upstream, and then people will still use the same tools they use now to do their estimates or use their project management software. Those tools will remain, but the platform brings continuity to the team and automates reporting. The importance for contractors is, likely you've experienced at times, construction can be a very chaotic environment. It feels like herding cats sometimes. And there's we need a real-time information system for making decisions on who's going to take on what projects, what projects are making the most money, what types of work are best also. Another issue that I had was trying to keep on top of the need for bonds. We had kind of a bad habit of waiting to the last minute, have to submit a bid. We don't have the bid bond. And of course, if you don't have the bid bond, you can't submit the bid. So we're tracking that in spreadsheets, but now we built that into this platform. And I'm going to show you a number of examples of how that works. So the agenda basically is common issues in obtaining bonds, the value of detailed and in particular automated reports, and then some strategies for exceeding single bond limits. And I did want to say that if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat. There's a chat on the lower right. Looks like a text box there. You can click on it, type a message. It's fine at any time, and we will try to answer your questions. You can also unmute yourself and just interrupt me if you want as well. So feel free to let us know how to answer your questions. Thank you. So what is RevOps? RevOps is an integrated system that enhances your operational efficiency by combining the business development, sales and marketing, business development team, the estimating team, and operations teams into one platform, as we mentioned. This provides seamless data flow across the departments. Sometimes in systems today, one of the fragmentation is a big issue in the industry. And when you have your business development team using a different system than everyone else, they tend to have information that no one else has access to. So by putting this in one platform, people are able to automate the reporting and make easier decisions with real-time information. Another benefit of having a unified system is that a lot of reports that were very time-consuming to prepare before can now be done efficiently. For instance, we're going to be focusing on the bond management and bond status tracking. So RevOps for contractors, right? Construction is a project-centric business. It's each project is unique, as we know. Of course, there's examples if you're building McDonald's all the time, maybe they're not too different, but in general, the non-residential environment and or custom homes is also, every project is new, the team is new. Sometimes projects that are designed have never even been built before. So we need a system that does resource allocation, change order management, financial management, and bond status monitoring. And streamlining that operation is important, right? Being able to manage both financials and bond requirements in one platform, make sure you don't miss things. A lot of what we're doing here, there's efficiencies to it, but we also have less errors. When you're using spreadsheets for things and cutting and pasting and re-entering data, it introduces the opportunity for errors. And the enhancing the revenue reporting and bond tracking is focusing on the dual benefits of the financial oversight and continuous bond status updates. So this is a fast way to get what you need, right? Especially if you wait too long before you need the bond, you call up your bonding agent and you need it right away, and they're going to need financial reporting. So, with an automated system, it's able to provide reports right on the spot, right, that you can use. You'll still need, as Travis mentioned, you'll still need your normal financial statements, but the interim reports, which show the actual status at the current time you need it, is going to be automated here. The key reports are the bids pending report. This is a list of all the projects that you've already submitted a bid on, which you may receive, you may be awarded, and this is important. Bonding companies will need this, and I'll show you one in a minute. But they're going to want to see what other jobs you may be getting, right? In addition to the WIP report, which is the jobs you've got in progress. And then the client reference report is also important if you're making it's a stretch bond, so to speak, that maybe it's exceeding your bond limits, right? So you want to be able to demonstrate and provide references in all the projects you did that were of that same type that would give you credibility and maybe warrant an adjustment or a larger bond than you might have been entitled to. And then we built a new report on bond requirements by project, so you can keep track of all those things. Here is this one bond requirement tracking report, right? This is as we said, if you don't have the bonds, you can't submit a proposal. So we want to avoid the last minute part. So you can see the green projects are projects that have secured a bond, and the yellow is one that needs a bond but hasn't been secured yet. So when people look at this, it's going to keep them up to date on which ones they need to follow up with. You might have to go back and forth, but until you get that bid bond, you're going to need to make sure you don't miss following up on these. That's the purpose of this report. So it provides transparency for everyone in the company. It's facilitating smoother interactions with your bonding companies, and I think you'll find that it's just the color coding makes it easier. Even though there's a date there, it's just easy to just glance at it and you can see if there's an issue or not. The bids pending report. This is an automated report. This, again, these are, since they're real time, if a project's awarded, people are going to update the status in Command Post. Command Post then will take that off the bid pending report automatically, put it in the active project, into the WIP report, and this bids pending report is going to show the bonding company all the projects you've bid on that you're waiting to hear an outcome on. But they're going to care about that because they want to know what other projects you may have and other projects you do have, right, before they issue that bond potentially.
I do just want to step in one more second, but and this type of report is it's a powerful report because sometimes if we get a request in and why people may have this, just the time frame to gather the information, put it together, can potentially be viewed as a negative. When we do everything, we tend to spend that. But if we're like, oh, where are we at the bids? And it takes 3 weeks to get a report back, that delays the decision-making process from the underwriter and makes the underwriter kind of think, do they really know like where they're at with all these projects, or do they just have to scramble everyone together and figure it out? Like being able to immediately respond to, well, I shouldn't say immediately, but within a day or so, respond to the underwriter's request with a nice, concise report of this is exactly where we're at, is really impressive and viewed favorably when the underwriter is then making a decision. Hey, should we increase their line or provide a stretch bond or what have you? So,
Yeah, no, those are good points too. I'm used to, people clicking and that report comes up instantly. And as I did mention earlier that some of these reports that are in spreadsheets or in different softwares, there isn't really one software package you can go to find information about any job, no matter what the status of it is. Active has active jobs only typically. And so being able to click and get this report is really nice. And it does impress financial stakeholders, which is part of the reasoning here. This is a report. The one I mentioned earlier, at the beginning of this, for me as a business owner running a construction company, the performance of the business now and in the future was super important, because without it, I couldn't determine when I was going to hit break even, and if I didn't have more work, when I would start losing money. Right? You want to track your overhead and your fixed overhead, your variable overhead, and then spread the profit of the jobs across those, and find out when you're going to basically break even, when you need more work. And that's great, because if you know in advance, you can do something about it. Otherwise, you're kind of guessing, well, we have all these 5 jobs to bid. Maybe which ones do we bid? Well, if you knew when, maybe the one job was going to be better for you in a period when you were going to lose money, otherwise, you might choose to bid on that one instead. So this Performa is used to provide a forecast in addition to your financials to bonding companies. And essentially what you're looking at here, and this report is by project manager, and this can be generated by everything from superintendent, client, type of construction, and there's any number of different ways you'd like to look at it, and it groups these. So these are grouped by project managers, and then at the bottom, maybe hard to see, you can see that there's a total, and then there's a overhead factor, and then a variable overhead. And variable overhead may be for general liability insurance, which is a cost that might be twice as much if you do twice as much business. And then your fixed overhead would be your rents and other things like that you're going to have to pay no matter how much work you're doing. These can also be given at the time you request the bond, but also if you have the ability to provide updates to your bonding company. This is kind of maybe something you don't need to do, but it might be helpful if you have certain bonds issued and you're trying to get additional bonds. They may want to see the actual progress of the ones they've already issued. And a progress report like this helps build trust with the sureties. As I think that Travis would probably agree that trust is a major factor here. It's it can't be underrated when it comes to banking and bonding and this type of thing, because they really have to feel like there's the risk, because it's not exact, it's not scientific. So if they feel comfortable, you're able to provide information quickly. It helps build trust.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most important factors in surety underwriting. It's hey, we trust, and just having this type of report, being able to demonstrate and know, hey, where we're at in profitability of clients and projects. It just shows, hey, this is a really well-run company that's in tune with these items, and it's something that they're looking at.
Yeah. Are there any questions so far? Anybody? Yeah. This is a kind of an alternate work in progress report. It's based on resources. So, and this report also is grouped by underwriter. So just it's fictitious information, but I've got Liberty Mutual here, Travelers, Zurich. So if you had bonds with different companies, this report also can be viewed by project manager or any other way. But the idea that if you are trying to spread the bonding around or what have you, this would be a way to keep track of those. And this report indicates a number of things that are important. One is these diamonds here are the contract start and end dates. And the bar in between them is the actual or anticipated dates of construction. So it's easy to see if you're behind schedule. In this case, this job is intended to be early. If it was going to be late, this diamond would turn red. So you can very quickly see if you're complying with your contracts. The one below it here, this started late and finished early. That is definitely a fictitious job. Jobs, so many jobs are late. And that's what this report does. And it can be, again, shared. You can filter on a particular company and give the bonding company and as additional backup how you're performing on these bonds in terms of a timeline. This, again, this type of information helps sureties assess their risk more accurately. So this is a portfolio of completed projects. Now, when I was a contractor and we had either a request for qualifications or bonding information, for us to put together a list of projects, similar projects that we had done, we would walk around the office and the person that was there the longest, we'd say, how many jobs, biotech jobs over $4 million have we done, and of course people are scratching their heads and they can't remember and they don't remember the names or they remember part of the information. And so you go to someone else and they remember something else and you come back and try to put this information together. And then of course you have to have a description of the job. You've got to have what the contract was, who the owner was. Maybe they want to, make a call and verify this information. And it wasn't a great process. And it's the kind of thing that is very simple. If you have a comprehensive project database, you're able to generate this in seconds and filter it based on the type of work and contract size, etc. So this is an example of what that report would look like. And this is, again, demonstrating success on bonded projects. You've got a proven track record here, and it helps to be able to request an increase. So if you've done if there's let's say a manufacturing facility that is $10 million to build, this one is a $15 million project, but you can show that you've done 8 of these projects that are not 15 million, but they're lower than that. And you can provide the background, the history of your company and the track record of your company to the bonding company. It could warrant them having enough facts to look at to approve an increase in that particular bond.
Yeah, this type of information, is super, especially for what Peter was mentioning, that sort of stretch bond that normally goes above kind of a specific line, or just incredibly important if there is a need for a surety company change, that a demonstration of, hey, we've completed like projects of close to size, or this is our history of everything that we've done. It's in a concise report versus having people take the time to put it together. It is something internally that we see a lot. That is kind of surprising because we're like, hey, isn't this a marketing tool? But it's just, hey, that's just not readily often available. So being able to have this information and again, a concise report that automatically fills based on utilizing the system is a powerful message to a surety underwriter.
Yeah, and something else too that to point out that when if you're on the phone with your agent or your bonding company, and they ask you about something, you could, query this and give them the information right then and there on the telephone. Tell them how many projects and such that you have like that, because it's because information is available, and that can help expedite the process. So the impact of these bonds, you've got with robust reporting on the projects and the bond status. This contributes to building trust, as we said, with the bonding companies. And you have support for larger bond applications. Timely and detailed data can support that, applications for higher bonding limits. And the integrated bond tracking demonstrates thorough management capabilities to sureties, right? If you're able to provide all these automated reports, or reports, period, and it's to the bonding companies and sureties and other financial stakeholders, it could be used for lines of credit, etc. This is very important to help support higher bonding limits and building that trust factor. So we talk about getting started with RevOps software. RevOps software is not replacing other software you have. It's basically bringing in your current processes, focusing on your operations, bonding, estimating, and it's replacing spreadsheets. It's unlikely that you would still need spreadsheets, because fields can be added to track anything you want. You can add custom workflows in the system, or whether you're keeping track of insurance certificates or business processes you have. Spreadsheets are typically used to fill in the gaps between the other software systems you have that they don't do, and this would be the place. This would replace your spreadsheets. It also includes a CRM built within it, so you wouldn't necessarily need CRM software, although you can still use it. It eliminates many hours re-entering data and preparing reports. And just some examples, some customers spend 5 hours a week on one particular report. It's for paying commissions to people. And commissions can be complicated. Not only calculating the commission amount, but getting the data you need to calculate commissions is really what takes a lot of time. And they were able to automate that report, and you click and the report's there. I like to say that for management teams, you can spend your time evaluating the reports instead of preparing them, right? It's so much work to prepare a report. It's out of date by the time they get it done, after it takes a few days. So having automated reports let you focus on managing the business and to do what contractors love to do, which is bid jobs, build jobs. That's where the fun is. We also have something called Command Post Sync, which synchronizes contact information across all your connected apps. It's a hub and spoke implementation. So if you have QuickBooks, Procore, Office 365, if you add a contact in one system, it'll add it into the other ones. If you update it in any one of the systems, it'll get updated in the other ones as well. And it's highly scalable, because as a hub and spoke, adding the 100th spoke is the same as adding the first one. Many companies, or I would say virtually all companies now, are doing integrations peer-to-peer, which works well if you only have 2 software systems. But since the average project has 9, that's problematic. So by having a hub and spoke core, you're allowed a hub, so to speak, you're able to have as many. You could also have more version instances of Procore. And sometimes contractors can't use, even if you're using Procore, sometimes you're required to use other your customer's project management software, or you have projects that are too small that don't require project management software. So with a comprehensive project database, you can have flexibility there. If you are interested, we're going to go into a Q&A section. You can let us know, and we provide the training and any other information that you need. And so I'm going to open it up. I think we're about 30 minutes in, but that was the presentation. I think that we would like to find out if there's any questions from anybody. No, we got a question here.
Yeah, Peter, this is Dixon. I was curious, are you tracking change orders?
Actually, we do track change orders, yes. We track changes to the contract amount and the schedule and the scope of work, any one or combination of those three items. Thanks for asking that. It's a good question.
Yeah, very impressive. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I see a question from Alex. Is pricing structured per user? The pricing is based on revenue of the company. It's the same model Procore uses, except we're not nearly as expensive as they are. So we don't limit projects for any customer or the number of users, and that's because we don't want you to turn users off. I've been developing software products for a long time, successfully, and one thing that I never liked is a customer saying, well, at the end of the month, this guy hasn't logged in for so long, so we're going to turn him off. And I don't like that idea, because people will go in, they can't get in, they think it's broken, they don't realize someone turned them off, and then they need to get reprovisioned. So we move to unlimited user contracts. And that way you can add as many people as you want, internal contacts, external contacts, and you don't have to worry about the cost. Another point on that is that if you're using Salesforce, let's say, it's likely that because Salesforce is very expensive and it's per user, that the only people that have a seat in there are the business development people, and therefore the estimating team and the operations teams don't have access to any of the notes or information that was collected during that business development process, and that puts them at a disadvantage. So by making it unlimited users, it simplifies everything. There's also unlimited training, unlimited support, and unlimited storage as well. You can store all your documents in here. We also do have a connection to SharePoint, where when a project goes from bid pending to active, we will automatically create folders in SharePoint. It also at the bidding stage, when it goes bidding, bid document folders, when it's awarded, contract folders, change order folders for files, if you're using SharePoint. And we also automatically create the project in Procore. And one of the nice things about automatically creating these folders and these projects is it's not a mistake. One particular customer, they had a huge problem because they were tracking job numbers and putting names in a spreadsheet, and they sometimes wound up two people were using the same number, and they didn't figure that out until a bunch of expenses were posted in the accounting system, and then they had to undo it all, and it's very messy. There's enough problems in building a project that we don't need problems that we can avoid by automating things. Another thing is that people will name the projects slightly differently, and if you're an accountant and you're going through and the project's got a little different name because there's a prefix or a suffix or they drop the word the or all the different reasons that projects can have different names, slightly different, it's because it's manually entered. If it's automated, they're all going to be the same. Job number is going to be the same. Everything would be the same, and there would be consistency in that data. Any other questions here? Travis, anything you wanted to mention here?
Yeah, no, thanks, Peter. It's informative. I definitely suggest, like I mentioned, where this session has been recorded, and we'll send out a link with it. Peter's contact information, but I definitely recommend requesting a demo. It's a pretty easy software from a user's perspective, and like I mentioned, the power of the reports with regards to the like projects, status of bids. We're getting kind of more and more inquiries on that from charity companies. Hey, where are you at with everything? And then just that, where are you at with the work? Yeah, we see the WIP reports, but just their system just puts it in a better type project analysis. It just is really a powerful messaging to a surety underwriter that really creates that trust and just really illustrates that, hey, yeah, these people are really on top of where they're at on their bids and where they're at on their projects. And therefore, those stretch requests, or just mentioned if there's a surety relationship change, it's just it just builds that confidence so quickly. It's surprising, honestly, oftentimes how many times we'll work with a new prospect and we'll ask them for these questions. Like, hey, where are you at? Can you give us a list of like projects or prior projects like this? And it takes them, weeks to like compile up that information, or we get it and it's not that detailed. It's, oh yeah, I did this project and this project, and it was from March 2023 to April 2024, and there's really not much there. And that definitely makes it tougher to work with that information, plus creates a lift on the clients of the part every single time we ask that information. Or like, hey, we've issued so many bids. Like, where are we at with all these bids? Like, the surety company wants to know the line's coming up. So where are we? So some of them, just by rule of thumb, will just say, oh, we're just going to automatically assume a 10 to 20% or whatever close. So, hey, you could be pushing your line. So again, having this type of program to really show like immediately without requiring any extra effort, is just reporting of, yeah, this is exactly where we're at with the bids. Again, just that showing that you're having that system, or illustrating that you have that in an easily accessible way, is again powerful. And the system itself, outside of bonding, it has a lot of other features that are super useful. The system wasn't created for bonding. Peter obviously created it because of his construction background and helping them forecast revenue on projects and what have you. So just when I saw the program, our involvement was like, wow, this is awesome for bonding. And that is just kind of more of like a byproduct of what Command Post is all about. So I highly recommend taking maybe another 15-30 minutes out of your time and requesting a demo.
Yeah, Travis, thanks for that. It's a good point. I mean, in the DNA of all this, and the impetus for us creating this was financially oriented, to help me successfully manage the business, navigate the ups and downs of running a construction company. And once all that information is together, we automated 27 different reports that are canned. They're just available. You click and they're there, and people can create their own and move them around on the menu and so forth. So it is simple. I appreciate you bringing that up. One more point on the working with these underwriters is that I think overall people expect contractors not to be very organized. I just think it's kind of a shadow over us, so to speak, right? So when someone is able to produce the information quickly, they notice it, right? It really makes a difference. And because they're kind of used to waiting, okay, I'll wait a few weeks for that, go figure it out. And if you can provide it quickly and accurately, especially updates, it definitely they will notice that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I did put in the chat my contact information. You may have it. It's just, right there. The chat, if you're looking for it, it's in the little window there, and it does have my name and phone number on the page here that you're looking at. So feel free to reach out and request a demo. The process normally that we use is we set up what we call a discovery call. We set up a call, about 20-minute call, discuss your needs, the challenges you have. Usually goes through, here's our problem, we tried this and it's not working, and now we need something else. And then in that call, we're able to identify if there's a fit. Nobody wants to waste anybody's time. If we can see a fit, then what we do is we go back and tailor the demo to address the needs, the concerns you had, And you can then know more about what we're doing and invite other people who might need to be part of that demonstration to join. So, that's our process, and it's working well. So, all right.
Great.